What do they do? For election time, they come and get our votes. But what? How do they get money? You think they're not pushing money to these other areas or make sure they get the money?
I'm quite sure they are.
Okay, so
I
but
know
what's
they
our
are. I know they are.
you
Our
need to hold them to
representatives out
task.
there.
But in order to hold them to task, we got to show them we can do something. We're not stupid. Because we're acting stupid now. We're really acting stupid.
Okay, Miss Woodard, Miss Woodard.
Just a suggestion. When you go up, they look for figures.
That's right.
Now, I don't know who has the papers or what happened, but you need to show the difference in the loss of 10 Mile Road in comparison to what we have to deal with today. That's step number one. That's how you can get your money. Now, you know the decrease was very hard on this township, and I think you need to weigh heavily on that particular fact. Now, as far as you're concerned, I don't know which reports you give to the board. Do they have the expense to revenue report? Do you get that? Now, what I'm feeling that he's trying to say is, if you gave me $70,000, I have to show where that $70,000 is coming from. Now, what I'm going to do with that $70,000, okay, I'm putting this in the general fund. Now, from that general fund money, I'm gonna pay the light bill. Just don't put the money down there, but explain what you're paying. Is that what that's what he's looking for? Say it's the light. Okay, I will take $10,000 and I'm gonna give it to the gasoline company, or we'll just say, oh, Percy, I know he's in the spirit with it. Right. We'll say Percy, we're paying Percy $20,000 for gas. But that's what I believe that he's trying to find. Not give me a sheet that says I'm spending $50,000, I'm spending $70,000, and not saying what is allocated for. That's what he's looking for. Now that's why I asked you. You give it a record of expense to revenue and cost details. But do they get that report? I think that's where his confusion is coming in. I'm just asking. I'm trying to help.
Now, the revenue and expense report, Mr. Cunningham does give those to them. The when we do the bills say who we pay to and how much the amount the money is. We were going to start giving it to them to show them by the funds so they can see what's available in the funds. But we have to go through all the part of almost processing the checks to print them up, but not print them up so they can get the report.
I'm gonna come up here and you show me.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. Ms. Anderson?
I just have one question. Um, what recommendations would you all come up with?
Okay,
What recommendations would you all come up with right now that you all can collectively bargain and negotiate in making some cuts today and coming up, because you have this meeting? Can you decide on at least 5 things on something which you can give up and sacrifice? That's what I want to know.
Sacrifice without the numbers backing it. Now that's where we're going to get the numbers Monday.
But do you even have a clue at what you might want to even start out cutting at? That's all I'm saying. Can y'all come up with some ideas that's concrete in the areas that you know you can make the necessary cuts at right now? That means what I'm saying is that maybe some salaries, maybe some cell phones, maybe some gasoline and mileage needs to be more monitored and stuff like that. Now salaries, I know you have to have a budget hearing for those to be um, amended or whatever. But it's certain things that we do have costs in, like cell phones. Do everybody need a cell phone? Like the water was something that came up about the water. Certain expenses can be immediately cut out. Can you all do that?
And Commissioner Anderson, this board fully aware of what you said, and I think it would be at the best time for us to come up with a decision to tell you what we need to cut. That's something that just needs to just be uh, placed on the agenda. We need to do the discussion piece for it. Then we need to find out what line items, what items that is not as good, where we could save money, those are items that we need to deal with. But far as now, me telling you what cuts that will be made, I'm not in a position to answer that right now, because it's not the time for us to answer.
Next question I have then, since you gave me a response. I'm a new elected official and I came in knowing that we had a budget deficit. I addressed my board with it, so my question would now be to you all. You all been here. You all knew previously what kind of condition the state was in. How come you guys have not, because I hear you and I'm understanding what you're saying, but where we're at today is that we've heard this repetitively now every month. And it is tired because when you gonna make a decision? That's where we at. Make a decision on what to cut. You ain't got no more time. You need to go to that man, like he said. Y'all coming collectively here, but you ain't got the whole board here still. The one that's been calling the shot, that's kind of, in my opinion, that has disrupted the whole thing, is not here. And so you can come, y'all can all come collectively with something, and she ain't on board. And when you get where you're gonna get, it's still gonna be a hot mess because she ain't collectively on board. So my point is this: how can you get something, and we got time is running out? When do you get it? That's just that simple. When do you get it?
Again, Mr. Anderson, I'm not trying to speak for this entire board, but if you heard and heard to what the trustee was mentioning tonight, was that he pretty much asked us what our feelings are, our thought process, what the township needs. Okay, we all in accord with that. Just like you indicated, it's the first time that we all been on the same page. Okay, we're not here as a full board. That's why the question was brought up. Okay, then we need to direct our financial analysts to be here at this next board meeting, our attorneys, we have a full board, because again, we don't want to go up there half-stepping. We need to go up there, not only this time, but from this time forward on, we need to be doing just that. And just like you mentioned, all the these are things that we need to discuss, and we need to find out what areas we need to deal with. Okay, those are steps that we must take first. Okay. Who else I had to call on? Y'all just, Ms. Pat, did you have a question that you wanted to? Okay.
Can I say something? Before the trustees go up there and check on administrators, know what they are doing, since y'all don't really know what's going on. Y'all go up there and check like you're supposed to, be the overseers.
Personally, I can't speak again. I can't speak for
I
all
hear
the
the
trustees
question.
here.
I hear the question.
No, the question was that do we come up as a trustee and check on the minister? You know, as far as the information or the kind of.
I have been up here numerous
what's
times
going
to
on.
check on the treasurer and the clerk. I have went in the supervisor's office a couple of times. I have talked to her, but she's not here now, so I just say yes, I have.
Ms. Turner,
It's done what? Have I been up here?
you have to check on the administrators and find out what they're doing.
Come up here no, I don't come up here, I come up here when I am called to come up here, when I'm assigned to do something. Yes, I come up here, never come up here to check on the administrators. No, I don't
You
come up
don't
here,
really know what they
no.
are doing.
Pardon?
You don't really know what they're doing.
Well, I come up here, I know what's going on, I know what's going on, but come up here, no. I've never came up here, no other trustee have came up here and did that.
I have.
Well, you the only one.
Mr. Ford has.
No, Mr. Ford hasn't came up here no other day, he been on this board longer than I
He has
have.
been up here with me.
No, but he has not been up here, no, like that,
As
okay?
everybody know,
I told that
Township,
they know their jobs and I'm
I
not
have a
having
job.
I can't hear you,
that
Mr.
I have to
Long.
work, so I have to be there. And right now, my job requires me to be there at 9:30.
Then maybe you should resign.
It's a conflict of interest with the hours of work
Resignation.
and stuff, because sometimes when I gotta be on my way to work, they probably just coming in. But what I learned at the trustee convention is that most trustees receive their board packages by email. Maybe we need to do that. Requesting documentation and different things. Just email it to me and I get it, go over my emails And when we come to the board, we can handle business.
But you ain't, I don't think that's good for you, because you said you're not understanding the reports.
No, I'm gonna request reports. If I need reports that I think I need, so I can understand how the financial, condition of the township is, I'm gonna request those.
That's what the workshop is.
Okay? No, I'm gonna request. All I have to do is request from the clerk and from the treasurer. So you got a problem with me
No,
requesting?
I'm not saying that. I
Okay,
want
so
to know
what
if
you
you
talking
oversee, if you're an overseer, you supposed to know what's going on.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna request documentation, supporting documentation.
That's what the workshop is.
Okay, Mr. Blackburn.
Act like you don't want to call.
I'm trying to.
I just had to meet you for a quick ease. I was just listening to Mr. Owen. This is going back to bank statements and paying bills and all of that. You guys don't approve or disapprove payment? I mean, because I heard this with my own ears from the state, telling the board it's supposed to be done like twice a month, and you went right back to doing things the same old.
You heard what?
When we had that meeting with the state, like he was saying earlier, that the board are the overseers, right? I mean, the trustees are the overseers of the board. So when you have bank statements and bills to be paid, salaries and wages to be paid, you guys don't approve or disapprove the payment.
We did. I come up here a
I
couple
said you
times.
don't, I mean, do not.
Yes, we do. We have, okay, but here lately, last month or something, last time I came up here and,
You can't go to the state saying that.
wait a minute, I'm being honest, okay? All right, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Herbert, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The last time I came up here with Billy and I and the supervisor, yes, the state to meet, last year, bond came down and said that
Ma'am.
we, should,
Okay, well, let me say.
be more closer,
Okay.
follow,
No,
we
no,
did,
no,
we
no, no,
established,
no, no.
wait a minute. We, okay, now you said what you,
No,
we
but I mean,
established.
you up a lot of time.
No, wait a minute, we established a financial committee, right, and the
You either do or
clerk
you don't.
put the bills and stuff out, and we checked it every pay period. But we
Okay,
haven't been
well,
doing that,
but-
okay?
but-
Because the last time I came up here, Don,
The only reason I asked that is cause, just listening to what he's saying, you don't do it collectively as a board. Cause before the problem
No,
was.
we had a committee, I'll tell you, we had not the whole board came up and did it. We had certain, board members volunteered to do that. We took turns to do it, okay?
You guys got a financial.
And we have a financial committee. I have been up here one time, okay? Then when I came up, then I was told that it was wrong. So I didn't come back.
Mr. Thurman, my only concern is that it was my understanding that it's supposed to be done as a board. Because people were coming in individually, signing off on different things.
No, that was, not that time when Vaughn came, when we were down in Houston, Jose.
No, but I mean, is
I
that
know
what's
what you're
being
talking
done now?
about.
That's what I was asking. Because he, just going by what he just said.
Well, he haven't, I don't know if he's been.
Mr. Wilson,
I can't say.
But,
I have come up here.
the board addressed me in the Okay, so I see that y'all not doing it. Secondly, and I'm just wondering, did the board hear what that state police, did you really understand what that state policeman was saying? Because I'm under the impression that nobody has a time on when are we gonna go back to our own police if we can? Or what are we gonna do about paying somebody to police this? Cause the state, even though they are supposed to step in, he made it perfectly clear that they're not gonna be here a long time. And the way he was saying it, like it ain't gonna be as long as people think, you know. How many years are we gonna use the state? Because nobody ever even asked that.
You gotta understand, they've been up in Hollywood, and I bet you they've been up there at least 10, 15 years. Okay? He said they're not the long-term solution, but they're not gonna deny police protection. Okay? They can't deny police protection because the state has to provide. That's why he said we're the state police. We have to provide it for people that don't have police protection. And that's what he said. But he said, I don't
And he
want
now
y'all
also
to.
said that the township is gonna have to come up with a fix.
But you can't put.
You hear that part?
He said it's not a long-term solution. He said, if I were you, I would look
Again, I
into
see, you hear what he
getting
said. So,
my own property.
you put a plan together on that. Yeah. Well, see, when I sat down here tonight, I'm thinking that y'all gonna sit up there and keep, some information around and write some things down instead of spinning wheels on it. And even what was said, what's coming from out here, is still doing the same thing. Everybody is on the defense, talking about what they do.
One of the things I want to see is a brand new police station, with the money that we collect for the revenue and the taxes, from the people. And we can pay for that. In less than a year, we can pay for that.
That's a pipe dream. I understand, because
We have to use the money,
what money?
the money from the police revenue. Once we pay our bills, the money stays in a restricted fund just for police, right?
All right.
We can use that for building a police station.
That's not what it's.
And saving money to start our own police.
You guys
don't want to go for it.
I'm asking you a question.
I'm just
You
saying.
throwing it out there. Do you have any idea? Do you have an idea how much that would
I don't have all the facts right now, but I'll look into it. Will you take that as? At least I got a dream. I got a vision.
Really, man, all I ask you is, do you have any idea how much it would cost? You're talking millions, man.
He has time, we have time
We
to work
get
on the
600,000 a year.
We have time to work on the numbers, and that's what you want, same as your time study.
I heard that exact same statement last year, the year before
You had
last.
that information
We have
at the
time.
next board meeting, for sure, already been working on that, and I already have that information for you, Ms. Miller. Mrs. Hall, then Mr. Randall will be the last citizen comment for night. Ms. Hall.
What you mean? No, he won't, cause I will. Yes, I do, and I got both of them.
Ms. Hall.
I have a question.
I thought you said-
Financial committee.
No.
You guys say you had a financial committee. I understand that as a board, you all are a board, but oftentimes you have a finance committee, you have a PR committee, you have, you break off into different committees. So from what I'm hearing is that you all have a financial committee? And who's on that financial committee?
Board of trustees, the board of trustees, so you had like two come, or supposed to be three, and when the way that they set it up, it's supposed to be open for the public, so if anybody wanted to come, they could come. But they were coming, one come here, one come this day, and one come the next, and they wasn't doing it collective.
So is it the
So they
same members?
changed it.
So we did, we came in the same day.
Is it the same members or do they change?
We would alternate, we alternated, because some work, okay, and everybody's competing all the time. We would
Okay,
alternate.
is there a financial committee in place right now?
This board, every meeting, we approve it at the board.
Outside of the
meeting.
board, is there an ad hoc
No,
financial
we do not.
committee? There's not an ad hoc financial committee. So I thought that's what you were referencing that you all had. Is that the, when you
That's
said,
not the same. The financial committee is to oversee the bills, okay?
But if you don't have a financial committee.
and the financial committee is the trustees. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to, I'm
it
just trying
is-
to wrap my
it is
head around
trustees.
this.
It is the
And
trustees.
so the financial committee is the trustees.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the financial, and so that's in place now, right? I mean, they're trustees, so they own the finances, right? But they are, ideally,
They're in, but they just don't come.
We had a schedule, the previous, we had a schedule, yearly schedule of when we were supposed to come up and check the.
okay, so from what I'm hearing is that the board of
Now,
trustees.
we don't have.
From what I'm hearing is the board of trustees is the finance committee to oversee, the finances, to approve, disapprove, what have you, understand what's being paid, what's not being paid. Now, some people work and not able to get here, other people are. I would think with all of the strife and, the discontent and things that are going on across the board, that you would make it your business to come up and check and make sure that everyone is doing what they should be doing, and that's just something that you would do just for your own edification to make sure when you come to a board meeting, if you don't receive the information in a timely manner, at least you're knowledgeable about what's going on and that you have done some due diligence to try to find out what's going on, and that kind of satisfies your role as a trustee of finance committee member. So I think that it's imperative that you all get together. I mean, because I'm hearing that the trustees have issues about the finances. And so if you have issues and you inevitably are the members of that committee, then I think that it's imperative that you all get together and make sure that you come on board, check on the administrators, and make sure those things happen. Also, I'm back here preaching, you know.
I said you lost.
Yeah, right, because they haven't been doing, oh, also what I was gonna say, if that finance committee was in fact in place, if that finance committee was in fact in place, then in December, when you couldn't get a budget going, and in January, you said we're gonna sit at the table and we're gonna get back with y'all with some numbers. We're gonna do that. In February, we're gonna get back with y'all and get y'all numbers to do that. In, okay, January, February, March, April, May, we here in September. And we still hearing the same thing. I'm not here to bash anybody or anything like that, because at this point, whatever's gonna happen is really gonna happen. We can sit and talk and say, do this, do that, but whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, I guess, moving forward. I think those are things that you really need to take into consideration in terms of a finance committee and moving forward. So as you begin to say, well, what is our plan of action? Our plan of action is to have a finance committee, and that finance committee has to meet to make sure that things are going the way that they should be. You're gonna have to be accountable. As trustee, you are entrusted to make sure that the administrators are doing that which they're supposed to do.
Ms. Hall.
Ms. Hall, and we're not disagreeing with you anything, and with the finance committee, is what we do, is that the clerk office is always open. She has indicated to all the trustees, if you wanna come and look at bills prior to they've been on the college payroll, then you have that right. You can review everything, look at everything. So at the time, everybody sign off. So when it does come to the regular board meetings, you always have the payroll and the college payable, and the treasurer also gives bank balance. So that's there. That's in place.
I think also with that finance committee in place, then when you see this division and board, if the trustees are all on the same page when they come to the board, then at least we know that, okay, all of us are on the same page, and then you just weigh out everything else that comes. Then you won't have so much divisiveness if all of the trustees are on the same board. So I think that's a committee that you all really need to look at outside of what somebody telling you what to do. I think you need to take some time, put it aside and do a committee. I mean, I just think that would work better.
Ms. Hall, before any bill was paid, it was a process set in where me and Mr. Ford would go up there, check every bill, and decide in our financial restraints which bill would be paid this month to keep us flowing, which ones we would pay the next month. It was working smoothly until we came by a situation that was brought to the board where the board wanted one person paid, which in our eyes, since we were elected to that, we didn't choose to pay them, and it was a strife back and forth, and then it was a meeting, and it was, and the process that was going through was struck down by the board and put back on the treasurer and the clerk's office to handle that. That's what happened.
As trustees, they can put it back all they want. It's y'all duty to say, no, we gonna do it this way.
Exactly, I understand the
So,
support that we have to
regardless of
vote
all
on,
that.
but just, right, I understand that, what you're saying, that's what happened with that committee.
Okay, Mr. Reynolds?
That's what's happening now. Ms. Stone, back to you. I think the chairman of the Housing Commission, Ms. Brinkley, sat on that commission, and Ms. Wood sat on that commission with me. Okay? We told the director, checks will be ready to be paid and be reviewed by the 15th of the month. If they didn't have those, if your check wasn't ready for us to look at and to approve, you didn't get the check. okay? Ms. Wood didn't come up there 2 days later to okay your check as a favor. Okay, Ms. Brinkley didn't do it, and I didn't do it. You could live out here, I'm sorry. There was a set policy.
Right.
If the trustees say, you can't buy toilet paper without my permission, that's what it is. But what you can't do is you can't turn around the next week and say, well, in this case, because it's my cousin.
Right.
See, that's where you get your problem.
Right.
Now, when you're talking about the deficit, I told the old boy, you weren't here, you weren't here, you weren't here. But you were here, you were here, Ms. Ward was here, Ms. Phillips, and Ms. Turner was here. And I told them, we got a $300 deficit. But Oak Park called Sandy Levin and said, we got to lay off 6 police officers, we want the money for it. They got it. Okay? Our county commissioner gave us receipts for a guard. Okay? But go up there and look at 10
Who
Mile and
elected that
Coolidge.
county commissioner?
10 Mile and Coolidge. They have relayed, if you go up there and look, they have relayed that portion 3 times because it ain't been right. Okay? But see, we get what we accept. I also told them that, and I'm gonna tell you this now, to get y'all to lose some sleep over that. I done told our political leaders, the word I'm hearing, and I'm hearing it through my job and stuff, the only reason we still exist is because our infrastructure. Oak Park and Ferndale don't want it because it costs too much. See, and that same Ellen Lipton that your supervisor talking about kids communicating with,
Right.
back when Oak Park Road that started $1.4 million, she came up with a grand plan to give us some community block grant money to share with Oak Park, but only if we forget. See, so when you're talking to these people, you got to realize where they're coming from. See, but somebody did mention you got to go to meetings. You got to, I go to Oak Park, I go to Oak Park meeting. Frank Miles, and he was the trustee, was at the Oak Park meeting. When that attorney sat up there and said, we ain't worried about that $1.4 million, I'll make a fool out of Wallace Park. He didn't even know Park wasn't a attorney. But that's what people think of it.
Okay, last question. Wrap it up.
I'm so befuddled, I forgot what I had to ask. Yes, but, but I noticed with all the suggestions, I didn't see anybody, I know the clerk is taking notes, but nobody took any of our suggestions down. But you all gonna have a whole lot of work to do, a lot of work to do in that short amount of time. And it's gonna have to be realistic. How are you gonna do it? Look at police fund, that kind of thing, and how are you gonna replace money? How's the revenue, where's it gonna come from? How are you gonna, to get a loan, you gotta know how you gonna pay it back, what are you gonna do to pay it back? What's gonna happen? What's gonna have to be cut? Yeah, we need to be cut to the bone, all the way down to the bone. Bare necessity, bare necessity. And the main thing, you better put in there that you will attend meetings and find out, we can learn more, how to do things. And you need to consider your personal man, that man that did come in and messed up all his reports that he did on his own. Okay, and that wasn't with the treasurer, he did these reports by himself. For the supervisor, the 2 of them should be taken to task too. They need to know what their job is. You're only to say, we are the trustees, you don't do anything without us, anything. Okay, because otherwise, it's bad. And she talks to all these people, go to these meetings, and they get money, she ain't getting none. So you don't learn on the job. She needs to go somewhere and to attend meetings on a regular basis. Any meeting that's open, she needs to go to learn. Because otherwise, it's going to stay the same. And it's sad, you talking about Oak Park or Ferndale taking up. We're in too much debt. They still had to get us out of debt. They come out their coffers then.
Right. Did you read that letter from Oak Park? Did she reference about Did you see the letter? Nobody on the board saw that letter, you see it?
See what letter?
There was a letter that came here from Oak Park about,
From who from Oak Park?
I don't know who it was, I don't remember, I remember reading
Where did it come from?
it. It came here.
What did it
I
say?
haven't seen it.
It said, what she just referenced, how they don't want us, because they would have to spend money.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
So you never saw it?
Who did it
Well,
come
maybe
to?
it came to the,
Who did it come to?
supervisor.
You know
But
what?
I read a copy of it, I read that.
I know they don't want us because they took everything that would bring us revenue, like the schools. We have no schools. Schools is the most, where you get most of your revenue from. I'm saying we don't have any schools. I'm just saying, period. We never get any money for school. Well, even our kids that go there. You know, and most of
The assets not high.
Where we going with that at?
You know,
So let me-
it's not attractive.
They should have question from Oak Park.
I have one. How come we can't have citizen comments in the middle of it? Where it would, like, people have suggestions, just like she did.
We have some input.
You know, have some input in it, and then touch on that from that point on to the end.
This is my thought, Mr. Wesley, that when you do that, I mean, I like to hear from everybody too. But when you having a meeting and you get the item, it don't do nothing but just prolong the meeting longer.
You don't think you spinning your wheels make the meeting longer?
No.
Really?
I don't.
Ask any.
That's why we give you citizen comments.
But ask anybody out here, man. Ask any.
But that's something the board would have to consider if they want to add that into the agenda. Then that's something they would have to consider.
Would you write that down and take it into consideration?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will, sir. All right.
Also,
Mr. Patton.
Yes, sir.
And I can understand. I can
No, you don't
understand what you're saying.
understand. Cause all y'all do is spin your wheels. We should have input, because we pay taxes, man.
And I understand that.
We pay taxes up the yin yang.
And this is the reason why it was already mentioned, and it was mentioned again, but there's somebody who's already thought about going to other township meetings and already.
Should've been doing that all the time,
I
man.
We've been
understand
doing that for
but-
years. I did
but
that
what
for
I'm saying
years.
is
That's
that
how you
they had
network.
a protocol
Other
that they had.
supervisors, we
that
went
they-
all the time.
But you're not doing
And
it.
workshops, okay? And I did that, and we'll do it now, because you're right.
Okay, I'm gonna
Miss Thurman, I used to run 10 miles a day.
No, I'm saying,
Now I can barely walk a
okay,
block.
but, okay, different
You
administrators come
understand my
in and have, okay? And that's one reason we haven't had it.
Okay, Mr. Pat, I'm gonna let Mr. Pat speak, then we'll have two more comments, then we'll have to adjourn this meeting. Okay, come on, Mr. Pat.
First, one of the things the main thing that's confronting you now is the meeting that you got to attend in Lansing. You gotta be prepared.
Right.
When you go there, you gotta be prepared. Everybody should know about what you're gonna say, or, if you're called upon. As an individual, they might point to you, say, well, what do you think? Or anything. But have your stuff together, be prepared, so that but first of all, the main thing, you should have a spokesperson that can articulate your plan. That's the first thing. You need a spokesperson who can articulate
That's
your
true.
plan with them. And that way, everybody else can keep quiet.
Yeah.
And, so you can get the financial information out properly.
But wouldn't that be the duty and responsibility of the supervisor?
No.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whoever can do it best. It's the person that can do the best job at doing it. That's my suggestion.
Okay. Ms. Williams?
Having experience with the state. I sit on a credit union board, been in over 40-some years, and we had a problem with money. And we had what was called a consent agreement. Now, when you go before the state, they're not going to listen to just one person, because all of you are responsible. One person is not responsible. All 7 of you all are responsible. So what you need to do, that's why I said you need to do a good package to be able to present. That's why I'm suggesting to you, since it deals with money, we lost a lot of money in that annexation, and we got screwed in, okay? Then you need to take that and show the dynamics of what the effect is on this township. That's why you have to keep on robbing Peter to pay Paul. But we never did get up to find out what can we get to bring some more money into the township. What can we cut as far as expenses are concerned? Just like it was mentioned about, let's go back to doing our own garbage. It was also mentioned about the cutting up the trees and getting us the equipment instead of paying somebody else to come in here and do it. You know, show where you can try to bring some money in here, you know, with the jobs, combine the jobs. You know, I thank God every day for Mabel Davis Hathaway when she was the clerk of this township. And I was interested in getting involved. 4 years that she was the clerk, the 4 years I spent at 21075 learning about what the hell I was supposed to do as a trustee. I wasn't going to take that position knowing I could go to jail, and I didn't understand. I can't stand before that judge and say, well, Your Honor, I'm new, I didn't know. You should have found out before you took the choice of running for an office. That's why, and see, that's going to be against you all too, I'm telling you. So now, what you need to do is sit down and go back, do a little homework, come up with something, a nice plan. And now I'm going to suggest this to you. Now, you can accept it or you can reject it. The Spirit had brought to me to take that red book and teach you all what you're supposed to know out of that red book. Now, I'm not going to charge you anything, you know. I'm not going to charge you anything, but my understanding is if anybody wants to take the class, that we can't buy the book separately. We have to buy the book through the administrative office. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but I'm throwing that out there. So if you would like to put that, down as a suggestion, that we're planning on having a volunteer instructor to teach not only just the board, who anybody else that want, but they have to buy their own book. I ain't buying no books. Okay? So now, if you want to do that, I'm giving it to you. Best I can do. To show that you're trying to do something. Because, see, like I told you all in the beginning, and you heard me fuss and get upset, I told you all that the trustees is the power of this board. But you got to understand what you got to do. And just like Mr. Reynolds and who else over there was trying to tell you, you got a bill, you don't understand this bill, you ain't going to pay this bill. Right. Now, as trustees, your living comes first. But you know, people don't understand. They think sitting up on that board is cheap. But that's a hell of a position sitting up there. And you've got to understand what you're doing. Okay? Now, meeting with the finance, now that was passed year before last, so have a finance committee, you know, you can have that open up to the public. You sit there, check the bills, do this before you have the meeting. So that when you get into the meeting, you know what you're paying and what you ain't gonna pay. And so you don't take all night long discussing about what you're gonna do with this money. See, there's a lot of things. I understand your living comes first, but you know, you need to study something. When you're getting ready to go into something, you need to study it before you decide to do it. Because sometimes what you think may be good for you might eventually work against you. And you don't want that. Because this ain't nothing to play with here. This not no PTA. We're not taking no Dale Carnegie course how to win friends and influence people. You're going to win some, and you're going to lose some. Now, don't get mad at me, because I got my point across, and you didn't get your point. Then you ain't going to speak to me. But see, we got to come out of that. Right. You know, kids don't even do that no more. You know, they knock each other upside the head one minute, and the next minute they going down the street to get a popsicle. Right. Like nothing ever happened. But we haven't learned how to be able to agree, to disagree and to agree. We haven't learned that yet. You know, but when we learn that, we as a group can take care of business. So now I'm just throwing it out there to you. Take it whatever. But you need to be educated. And Janice knows how I am about education. Mr. Reynolds too. You know, I want to know what the hell I'm talking about and what I'm doing before I do it. So if anybody come and ask a question, I can be able to say, well, I think so-and-so, but let me double check. You see? Don't pass it off on nobody else. Because you have a responsibility. It's not the supervisor, the clerks, and the treasurer responsible. It's all of you all's responsibility. When one falls, everybody falls.
Right.
And I know, and I want you to be on guard when you go up there the 23rd. These folks got a plan for you already. Now, personally, if I'm in trouble, what I would prefer to have would be a consent agreement. That emergency manager, a whole new ball game. We don't have the money. If you can afford to pay an emergency manager, then we can afford to survive. Where the money coming from?
Right.
Where it coming from? You talking about only what, 2,500 people living down here in the township now? When you had over 7,000, 7,000 to 8,000 long time ago? That's a big difference. And that's revenue also. So what you need to do is be prepared. That's all I got to say. But when they slap that hammer down, ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
Gates closed.
Okay? So we got to forget about the personal feelings, and I don't like this one, and that one don't like me, and this one did this, and that one did. We got to grow up. You know, we grown up adults. We no kids sitting up in here. We grown, and we're not dumb and stupid. Miss Thurman, who else was up there? Miss Thurman, who was up there, the Board of Commissioners, when we went up there, when they had the annexation? You know, we went up to the 1200 Telegraph.
Right.
That was you, myself, who, somebody.
Miss Cook, when?
Miss who?
Miss Cook, we took a bus load.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when I stood up there before all that Board of Commissioners up there.
We went up to Oakland County, I know that's what
Yeah,
you're
that Jew got up there and talked
Yeah,
about
but
this
we had a bus
township
though,
like a
had
dog. Did you hear me?
We had a bus load, we went up there.
Okay,
and
well,
we got
but
them
when I
money.
stood
We
up
had a
there and
bus
told
load.
it hurt me because of the fact he belittled us so much
Right.
that I just couldn't believe that this man had the audacity in front of all of these people to talk about us the way he did. And
Right.
I told him, when I came along, when this was going doing that annexation, you could not vote for no change if you had to be a homeowner.
Right.
And the issue was,
Right.
we couldn't understand why the down here could not vote when they had the election for the annexation.
They
But that's a
changed-
law. There's nothing that we could do
And
about
they
it.
changed the law as soon as they got the township.
Okay,
We
so that's
fought
what
like
I'm
the
saying.
devil.
We
went up there and
got to
fought.
be up on things.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
went up there and we fought, and that is one of
You
the
know, so-
downfalls. All those revenues,
But what I'm saying is, you
it's
know,
gone.
one like somebody, the people in Oak Park do not realize that those houses that they're living in is on township land.
Right, I know all that.
Go
That
check
I
the
know.
deeds.
Right.
Go check the
That
deed.
I know.
That's township land. And when this man was over there at a city county meeting, this man talked about the township. I said, you know what? Do you know you own my land? Oh, no, I ain't. He went, I said, go home and look at your deed.
And then like I told them, they said, well, Miss Thurman, I say, each one of those cities, Hazel Park, Pleasant Ridge, they all
on
moved out.
township land.
And then the county helped them. And we stayed
No,
here.
I ain't gonna put that lie on the county.
I do, I
I'm
think
gonna put
Hazel
that lie
Park
on
and
the
all
folks
that.
that live down here.
Okay, some
That's,
of them,
that's,
but then.
that's the cause of our land being, no, let's be honest now.
But I'm saying,
Let's be
what I'm
honest.
saying is,
Let's tell the
yes,
truth.
some of the, at that
Ain't no
time,
some
of
of it.
the,
All of it was. They sold us out.
Right,
And
I
you
mean,
know
but
why?
for a long while, it wasn't any of us down here, it was all white down here running this township before Mr. Dickens came, okay? Then after that, that's when they started all that scheme.
Well, that's what
Now
I'm
that I
talking
know,
about.
'cause I was
ain't
out
speaking
here, I
about
was
the white
a
folks. I'm
little
speaking
girl.
about the black folks. That's how I got sold up.
Finagle the
That's
township
right.
from under.
Do
That's
what?
right. That's
They
correct.
finagled the township
Thank you.
from
Yes,
under.
they
That's
did.
the truth.
Yes, they did.
only
That goes
comment-
without
Because
saying.
a Jew owned all the land, okay, and they eased
Yeah, my only comment
This
was,
would be the
Now
last,
is what's important.
this would be the last
Yeah.
citizen comment for the night. Any other resident have anything I would expect that you talk with the board after the meeting adjourned, but Ms. Hall will be the last comment for the night. Let's all go ahead.
Yeah, and it's just piggybacking on what a couple people said, everybody's saying, cut costs, cut costs, cut costs, which is true. Those are expenses, but we need to look at what kind of revenues we gonna bring in.
Before you
We
can
can
cut anything.
cut all the costs in
That's
the
right.
world, and if you don't have any additional revenues to come in, you're gonna be in the same situation that you're in. So, grants and different things like that, you gotta have the wherewithal to be able to go and get those
Thank you.
grants.
That's
But
right.
you also, so now, when you get to talk about cutting expenses, please consider what kind of revenues you're gonna generate too, because the revenues that we have are not gonna sustain us, even if we continue to
Right,
cut and cut and
right.
cut. We still need to be able to bring some type of revenues in here and use our revenues to our benefit, so.
That's true.
Oh,
my
can
last
I just say
comment.
one
What is
thing?
a suggestion on that?
What
Grants,
kind of revenue?
Let me say one thing.
Grant,
When
grant
Mr.
committee, like a finance
Yeah,
committee,
well,
get a
that's-
grant
yeah.
committee or
Well,
something like that.
When Mr. Reynolds and Miss Phillips and myself was on the library board, this was back years ago, we had a lady that wrote a grant for us who knew how to write a grant. And we were checking on it, come to find out the reason why we did not get the grant was because of bad administration. So when you write these grants, you're gonna have to be accountable. You're gonna have to show that you are responsible.
Right.
And we're not showing that. So now you can talk about doing grants
Grants
all you want to,
Right.
but until you establish yourself, and this, I was pissed. When we found out, and she got upset, this woman knows how to write grants. She said, you know, they said, you all don't know how to take care of business down there. And when was that, Louis? When was that? Back in what? What was that back in 88?
But then nothing has changed.
Before 88. Nothing has changed. That's what I'm saying. So now, if they didn't want to give it to us back then, can you imagine what we look like right now? What have we changed? What have we changed? You know?
But that's just one source, I mean, there's a lot of different sources.
That's,
but, you know,
that's why I continue to say that we should prove that Oakland County, prove Oakland County wrong when they look at us.
Right.
We should prove them wrong.
If you had administrative, that's the key.
And it ain't sustainable, you know what I'm saying, it just gets you through a little tough time, but you gotta be able to sustain yourself. Right, when everybody voted it down and stuff like that, when it was brought there,
So y'all had another meeting? Is it an open meeting or is it? So you have another when y'all had that next meeting?
I like the fact that they had